episode 1 of The Starting Point. Today we have DJ Mochi, hosted by your boy Saint Banga here, and we're gonna get right into it. So it's January 15th, 2022, last event at the Ace Hotel. How are you feeling?
You know, I'm ready. You know, it's been here for about 3 years, 3 or 4 years now, and end of a very long era, beautiful era here. But ready to end the night on a good note,
Yeah.
and end this tradition well.
The way you should. The way you should. No stress involved. Mm-hmm. The last couple of years have been interesting. You know, no COVID. During COVID, you weren't doing any shows. That was a slow period. I think the last couple of months you've been spinning here a lot, right?
Yeah. Since kind of things have been reopening, since Ace Hotel reopened and rebranded as Little Wild, I've been throwing a party here every second Saturday of the month called No Stress. It's me DJing all night with my right-hand man, Jordan Martin, as host. So he's kind of like my hype man, kind of getting the party live and kind of bringing back that energy of like old school parties with like DJ and host kind of back and forth. I just like playing, music that I like, that I hope resonates with people. A lot of just feel-good, uplifting, what I view as feel-good, uplifting music.
It definitely is. I mean, as you know, I haven't always lived here in the city. I was in the burbs for a little bit, and if I was coming out during the weekend, it was to see a Mochi show. I mean, you have that balance, you have that worldwide, international sound, and a lot of people know you as, at the level you're at now, the locations you're spinning at, the residencies you have, but let's take it back. Let's take it back to the starting point, right? So where you started at, how you got into it, why DJing. I'm interested in like your musical influence. Was there, your parents really into music? Was there a lot of music in your household? Like, how did this craft kind of come about?
Yeah, man. So I grew up playing guitar. When I was 8 years old, my parents kind of forced me to play an instrument, and so I picked up the guitar. Played in a lot of like blues and jazz bands in high school and college. I studied jazz guitar my freshman year of college, just loved music all around. My dad had a really big vinyl record collection, so he would put me onto a lot of the stuff he listened to back in like the 60s and 70s. That also introduced me to like vinyl in general and just like crate digging culture and like that kind of origin of like DJ culture. And so in terms of DJing, I sort of started out as a record collector and kind of started amassing a lot of records starting, I'd say, during college, back in Oregon.
In college?
Yeah.
Okay.
U of O, I went to University of Oregon. Me and my roommate, Ishvan, we both collected a lot of like funk and disco records mostly. And we threw a couple house parties in college. We would bring our records to a house and bring our turntables and all of our equipment. And I kind of have like a sort of traditional upbringing in terms of like learning how to DJ, sort of like how people learned in like the 80s and 90s, with the vinyl culture and whatnot. Moved to Chicago in 2016 to pursue journalism, brought my whole record collection out here and really wanted to tap into the DJ scene. So I met a lot of like-minded DJs who played similar music, which at the time was a lot of like funk and disco records.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That. You were playing at disco. I haven't seen you there in a while. And, before we get into that though, how did you always go by DJ Mochi? Has that always been your name, or was there an iteration to the name?
Yeah.
How did DJ Mochi come about? Where did that come from?
In college, I mean, we don't have to keep this this might be a behind the scenes situation, but
right.
My freshman year of high school, I was in a hip hop group and I was like the DJ for the group, and I went by DJ Scoops.
Scoops?
For no reason at all.
Okay.
My friend just gave me that. There's no backstory to other than that.
That's the energy he was getting from the music.
Yeah, I would tell people like scooping up good music, but like that's just me creating a name for it that already was created.
Yeah,
but
reverse engineering it.
Exactly.
Reverse engineering.
But no, Mochi came about. People always assume like, it's like the ice cream, which like if I'm not trying to tell the full story, I'd be like, yeah, for sure, like Mochi like the ice cream. But it actually came about when I was living in Argentina, my junior year of college. Mochi's actually short for mochila, which is a backpack in Spanish.
What?
And so basically, I had a friend named Lucas, and I would like follow him around the city everywhere he went, because he was like my guide to Argentina. He was a plug for all the cool things going on.
Okay.
So I would follow him everywhere he went. So his friend group would call me Mochi, because like I was his backpack. I was like always on his back, following him around everywhere he went.
I like that.
So
that's funny.
Got that name, and it kind of just stuck. And I don't know, if you kind of look at it too, like a lot of my sound too is kind of international like influence. So like I'm kind of like a backpack to the world, if you will.
So You started DJing before you went to Argentina? You had already kind of picked up the technique and the skill?
Yeah. I'd say that's about the time when I started first getting into it.
Okay. Did you bring your board down there when you went there?
Nah, I was doing other shit. I did play a show with my guitar. I played like a blues show on my guitar, but
Did
no.
you, the time you spent down there, did it influence like kind of how you, I mean, I'm sure that broadened like the music you were exposed to, and like did you come back with like a new kind of appreciation, new sound to the mixes that you were making and the music you wanted to play?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely opened the door to just like music outside the U.S. in general, and how there's so much music out there. It's basically infinite, But in terms of specific sound, they have a lot of cumbia and stuff. I don't play a lot of that, to be honest. And the clubs, you kind of hear the same kind of pop music in general. But just travel in general is something I plan on doing more, just to open my ears to like what different cultures are bringing to the equation. So going forward, that's something I definitely want to like keep doing and like soaking in more.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. I remember when I met you, it must have been 2016, somewhere around that time, maybe 2015. And I don't know if you were DJing yet at like venues and stuff. I know you were practicing back when you were living in, I want to say, Ukrainian?
In Logan Square.
Yeah, in Logan. And, at that point, I wondered, did you have expectations as to what you wanted to do and like the music you were kind of creating and, kind of the direction you wanted to go from there?
Yeah, man. So like, I kind of started this as just like a hobby and interest, man. It was just like, for me, it was just like, and it still is just like, I love music. It's like sort of my escape, and I just get lost into it. I can spend hours a day downloading music and like discovering new artists and things like that. And for me, it was like a personal thing. I just liked playing my favorite music out. It was like, what better way to like, I remember my first gig, I got paid $50. I'm like, man, I'm getting paid to play my favorite music.
Yeah.
This is a dream job situation. But then, yeah, man, it just like things started to build. I would go into venues during off hours and try to meet the managers. I would support other DJs who were in the scene and like try to really put my foot out there and in that like vinyl world mainly. And yeah, man.
I mean, there's been an evolution to your sound over time. I mean, it's always had the international kind of like, ting to it, like just that, I guess, element of international sound to it. You've done other kinds of sounds, but, as you've developed, I think you've really like embraced the Afrobeat, and then you've built a community off of that, and like you're getting a bunch of love.
Yeah.
And I don't know, are there other DJs that you're working with, or not collaborating, but like I guess in your circle that are also looking for places to play Afrobeat? I mean, unfortunately, we know that. Luckily, we're here in the Ace today, able to take advantage of the space that's soon to be closed down. And this is really one of the only locations in the city where we're getting Afrobeat at this kind of a venue consistently.
Yeah.
So what's the kind of this discussion in your circles about what's next for this vibe, this circle?
Yeah. So like, it was 2018 was a big turning point for me in my sound. That was sort of when I transitioned from like playing mostly vinyl sets to that's kind of the year I discovered Afrobeats. Actually, if you want to hear the story about that, I was working at Apple. I still actually work at the Apple store downtown, and it was summer 2018. It was the World Cup, and I met these two dudes from Nigeria, these two brothers. And I was just talking to them. They were trying to buy a MacBook from me, and we were just chopping it up, learning about each other, talking about soccer and stuff. And I invited them over. We became friends. I was like, you should come over and watch some matches together. So they come over to my crib, and we're watching some soccer. And they were actually super interested in the music I was playing. They were really into like American funk and soul disco music.
Oh, they were true Niger boys.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like they were learning just as much from you as you were from them. So.
Yeah, no, they were super curious. They were really into what I was doing. And so I showed them my record collection and was like showing them songs. And I asked them, I was like, "So, what's hot in your country? Show me what you're into from Nigeria."
Blew your mind?
Dude just puts on his iPhone, plugs the aux in.
Yeah.
He played some WizKid song, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember which one
That's
specifically.
all it takes.
My sister was already putting me on a little bit before. But no, like, I remember just sitting there and being like, what is this music?
Yeah.
And how can I inject more of this into my veins?
Yeah.
Something about, like, I kind of call it like turn up, turn down music, because like it's definitely a type of vibe that you can kind of like chill and cook to and drink to, but also if you want to just dance and like sweat your ass off, that's like, it brings that energy too. So that's why I found what I find so beautiful about Afrobeats in general. And yeah, since then, man, and since I started spinning at Ace in like that year, I kind of switched my whole vibe to more digital music, where I'm playing a lot more of that in my sets. And like it's been really beautiful to kind of just be embraced by like the local Nigerian community. And I'm not trying to say I discovered this music obviously because people have been playing this for a while. But for Chicago, like there's like few and far between places that you can like consistently hear it out on like on a weekend basis at certain spots. So I'm just honored that like, you know, people have been following me and like been appreciating what I do.
Yeah, dude, definitely few and far between. I mean, that's a very authentic, pure origin story for how you kind of just tumbled into it.
Yeah.
And you know, you've been working hard at this for a long time, and I wonder, like, you have to keep up with the sound, and you kind of have to keep your ear to the street, I guess, as far as what's happening in the world of Afrobeats.
Yeah.
But I want to kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about the world of a DJ, like the life of a DJ. It's a lot of work. I feel like a lot of people don't really understand the technicality to it. So kind of take us through what it takes to make a mix, what it's like to work, like, I guess, that schedule, because I mean you're up every night, late, a couple times a week throughout the weekend. And then you're also curating the sound you're making as it's happening in real time. You kind of have to cater to the audience, read the crowd, right? So, kind of take us through 24 hours of being Mochi. What's the life of a DJ like?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I get paid technically for the hours I spend DJing in a venue, but like, people don't realize a lot of the work that goes behind it that people don't really see. So I try to spend a few hours each week downloading new records. I listen to a lot of DJ mixes from a lot of artists that I respect, and I got Shazam button on point. Like if I'm at a restaurant or a bar and
that
I
new
get something
iOS
dope.
update, it's clutch.
Double tap?
That's the one that you just draw down.
Oh yeah,
little Shazam button.
I know what you're talking about. Yep. Easy, quick access controls to the Zam. I gotta have that on point.
Instant
Zams. And like I create, like, I'm a very organized person in terms of like listing things out. Like there's a lot going on in my brain. I need to like kind of like organize it in a visual way. So I've got a whole list of songs I need to download, songs to check out. So yeah, a lot of time spent outside the club is spent just downloading music, analyzing it. I'll put it in different crates in my Serato, and like write little notes. Like if it's a hype song, I'll add a little tag like hype. If it's a smooth song, I'll put smooth. So I have these like little adjective words I associate with each song that I try to tag each song with. So yeah, man, a lot of organization, a lot of emailing, and like there's a lot of like bullshit in the background that people don't see that like is definitely part of it too. But in the moment, man, yeah, it's just like, you
take long sets too. I mean, you're taking, tonight is a 9 to 2.
Yeah.
I never was really good at math, but that sounds like a long. How does that come?
5 hours.
Yeah, 5 hours. Okay, no, I'm trying. I really am.
I trust you on that.
5 hours of mixing. I mean, that's so. If I'm understanding you right, for those of us who don't DJ, right, it sounds like you're amassing a collection of music that. Are you just going off BPM or general vibes? Because like it has to kind of, a big part of DJing is the transitions, right? Like that's the kind of the beauty of the craft. It's like how well can you go from this sound to the next one without, making somebody want to leave during the transition because it was so brutal, right? So it's like
for sure
you want to keep the audience going and jamming. So the Serato, that's the name of the equipment, and that's the technology you're using?
Yeah, that's the software I use like on my computer for like all my music and kind of what I DJ off of. But yeah, I mean, 5 hour sets, it's a marathon for sure, and you really have to like create a roadmap in your brain about how you're gonna approach the night. Making sure you hold off on those bangers at the kind of key time. Like Summer 2021, Essence was the song that had everyone in a chokehold.
Yeah.
So people would always joke around about DJs dropping it too early in the night, not when it was like at peak hour.
Yeah.
So I'd always save that record for like 1 a.m. usually when it's like people are ready to sing their hearts out and stuff like that. Doing like a slow jams at the end. Just a lot of just like you're thinking a lot on your toes at the moment of what the next song is going to be, but I feel like a good DJ also like thinks about the next like 30 minutes to an hour ahead of like where are we going to take this next. And like that's what's nice about being a really open format DJ is that I'm not kind of confined to one genre, whereas like if all my bunch of South Africans pull up at 1 a.m., I'm about to play some Amapiano, so like, I can, it's just kind of seeing who shows up at the right time and seeing what, like, especially when you have a following too, you kind of know what songs certain people like too, and reading that energy too. So, you're thinking kind of like every 30 seconds, but also like ideally you're thinking like 20 minutes ahead as well.
It's the sound curation. You're kind of like, you're facilitating the energy through sound. You're playing good music. And like when I see you spin, like I get like this sense of like you get a lot of joy out of it. Like the energy from the crowd is palpable. Like they're giving you a lot, you're giving it right back. It's like this like connection. And the longer the night goes, the better the music, the deeper the connection. And like tonight the line's about to be out the door. Again, it's cold outside. People are gonna show up, and that just speaks to like what you're doing, the music you're playing, and I wonder. Was there like a certain point when you were like, I know this is what I want to do, like I really want to be a DJ? I mean, even this is prior to like your current kind of like status, right, of who you are as a DJ now. I'm sure there was like that turning point, right, where you were like, this is something I've been interested in, but now I'm really to take that next step and dedicate myself to be a DJ long term. What was like that moment where you were like, this is like me and the board for life?
No doubt, man. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it started out as just kind of an interest and a hobby, something I like doing, just like a fun thing to do on the side. And then I feel like I didn't start getting actual like a following of like people who would come out to me almost every weekend until maybe like 2018, 2019. And that's when I was like, okay, cool. Like people seem to be reacting to what I like, and it was really nice building. That's another beautiful thing about DJing is like you just meet so many amazing people on the way with like similar interests, and like creating that connection just through music is just like something super powerful. Like I met you basically through this. I met everyone around here basically through this.
It's the power of music, man.
It's the power of music, bro. It's the universal language, man. I mean, it's all cliche, but it's all so true. But like I would say, I was getting a lot of momentum going to 2020, and I had a trip to Europe planned. I was going to play at Ace in London and play in Berlin. And that was kind of when I was like, this could be something good. And then pandemic hit. I kind of started doing some live stream stuff, and it was just like I was just trying to like get by. Honestly, I luckily still had a day job at Apple, but honestly, summer 2021 was really just like the skyrocket for me of when opportunities start coming my way. That I was like, man,
and Afrobeat's also been on the rise too throughout the years that you've been DJing. I mean, as of like 2017, 2018, obviously Afrobeat has been huge for a while all over the world, but I think here in Chicago, maybe throughout the U.S., it's not as prevalent. You don't hear it, as much as you do when you're in the UK or, elsewhere in the world. So it kind of helps out too that it's like you stay consistent. You have this long catalog of Afro beats, and then now, more and more people are like realizing that it's kind of unavoidably amazing good music. And you bring people who've never listened to it before, and they're like, I gotta go back. I need it back. It's dope, man. So unfortunately, that trip to London was canceled. But do you have any, exciting things planned for 2022 coming up?
Yeah, I was trying to rebook it for 2021, but COVID got in the way again. We're trying to shoot for this year, 2022. We're thinking end of May to like mid-June. Hopefully, spend a whole week in London. Maybe stop by Berlin too. And the goal definitely going forward now that things seem to be ideally opening up more is to like just travel more. Would love to also go to like Ghana and Nigeria in 2023. South Africa is definitely on the top of my list as well. So maybe a big African tour the following year. But London's on the top of my list. London's just a sound that I feel like really resonates with me in terms of like the crowds there seem to be really open-minded. Like you can really get deep with what you play, and people just love dancing and are open to hearing new shit. And then in terms of like the diaspora, there's a huge African Caribbean community out there, and it's just like you go to a main club there, and it's like you're gonna hear Afrobeats. It's just like you go.
You hear it in the stores. I had the opportunity to go there before this last like shutdown that they're having now, and I was just doing some casual shopping, and I thought I was in a club. The music they were playing in the surf stop.
Yeah, you're like, why am I turning up to this?
I was on Shazam the whole time. I didn't even know buying anything.
Auto-Zamming it, yeah, just going through London is like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Just with your phone in the air.
It's the music scene out there is rich.
Yeah, man.
At this point, I feel like for me, you and the Ace are kind of synonymous. You built this close relationship with them. So with the upcoming closure, how's that kind of shaping up for you, and that kind of relationship that you've had with them so far, and how you're feeling about it?
Yeah, man. It's been an amazing ride here. Like I said, it's been about 3 or so years of DJing here. It's where I've really come into my own of figuring out what my sound is. I've sort of treated it as like a workshop of and a playground of what I like to do, and really been able to refine my identity as a DJ by playing here. Mm-hmm. Crowds seem to be really open to a lot of types of stuff. I do play a lot of known songs and songs people can sing along to, but I always try to play stuff that people might want to hear, should know, or a lot of remixes to. And yeah, just the layout of the venue's just very conducive to just open-mindedness and just and the booking people have been amazing. Shout out Natalie, shout out Sophia. They've really done an amazing job of curating really good DJs and creating a very welcoming space for a lot of people around Chicago, specifically black people and brown people. So it's definitely going to feel like a loss when it's over. But
you were telling me earlier that it's not that common, right, in the city. It's tough to find places that allow you to kind of play the music you want to play.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's nice being in a venue that's so centralized and people will go to, and I feel like I can really just be myself there, and that's the ultimate goal of I try not to play any song that I don't like.
Yeah.
I won't I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example of popular artists that I don't fuck with that people like hearing. Name some trap rap Lil Yacht. I mean shit like that where people will turn up. There'll be a song that people will guaranteed turn up to. But if I don't like it, I still won't play it.
That's the beauty of the opportunity of being a DJ. You're curating. It's your sound. It's people are coming to hear. If I came to a Mochi set, I'd be surprised if I heard
Juice WRLD,
Migos, or whatever it is.
You'll be hearing some Migos tonight for sure.
Please.
Yeah.
No, listen, I have nothing.
Indulge me.
Yeah, no, I have nothing against the Migos. No, wrong.
No, for sure. I mean,
Yeah. So you've had some pretty highlight moments as a DJ. That Andre Power show that you had, opportunity to work with him and play alongside him. I'm trying to think of some other moments, but what are kind of some standout moments in your time being a DJ?
Yeah, man. Like I said, summer 2021 was the year that things just really kind of skyrocketed for me since the club started reopening. I think live streaming throughout 2020 helped me kind of keep me in shape in terms of just my skills and just being relevant in general as a DJ. But yeah, the moment the club started open 2021, I was presented a lot of really amazing opportunities. It was definitely the busiest summer of my life and kind of solidified my passion for this art. But yeah, man, the Selection show with Andre Power was definitely high up there. I've been following Selection Radio for probably 5 years. They've been a huge inspiration to my sound in terms of the diversity of music they play. Their, again, open-mindedness to music from all over the world. And yeah, I remember I got COVID in sometime in August or September, and on day 10 of my quarantine, I was booked to play the skating rink event, and which was definitely a good time. And I was just skating around the rink, and I run into this promoter, Mike Ori, shout out Afro Track, shout out Mike Ori, and he's like, "Hey man, we got a Selection event coming up. Do you want to DJ?" I'm just I don't think I've ever met this man in person, and he just offers me this gig, and I was like, "What?"
Wow.
And
wow, that's what happened. That's right.
Yeah, super random. Yeah. And I was just I was still feeling sick, honestly, from COVID. And I was like, yeah, sign me up. And I spent a good week getting my set straight. And yeah, that was definitely probably the biggest event of my life, honestly. Yeah. It was I don't know, 200 people there. But I feel like I played literally exactly what I wanted to play.
Yeah,
got to fit all my sounds.
That was an amazing set.
Yeah, and I feel like I had the crowd by I had them,
by a
locked
string.
in. Yeah, by a string.
That was puppetry that night. It was beautiful. I'm really glad to be here with you. Sitting here with you with the Ace has been wonderful. I'm glad that you're the first on the show, the first episode. I hope people are tuning in, and I've been seeing your follower count increase, and the amount of love you're getting has been also going up.
Yeah.
You know, so this is finally, like, things are still kind of shaky as far as like attendance and crowds and
Yeah.
and all that. But you know, we live in a cold city for the most part. But the summertime is always a blast, and you know, I'm looking forward to the future of your artistry, your
Thank you, man.
craft, everything you're up to. I think it's wonderful. Follow DJ Mochi at DJ Mochi on Instagram. You don't have a Twitter, do you?
I'm on Twitter at DJ DEEJAY Mochi. Instagram is at DJ_Mochi. I post all my gigs there on my website, djmochi.com. Sign up for my newsletter to get, you know, first access to mixes and guest list spots. Shout out Soho. And yeah, that's where you can find me. And would love to have anyone else gonna be on my journey and you know, just have a good time. No stress.
It's
you know,
a beautiful thing. No stress. I mean, tonight's gonna be one for the books, no question. We hate to see the ace leave. It's, you know, it's been a ride, like you said.
yeah.
Is there any advice maybe for, you know, DJs, young DJs, people who want to pursue the craft, who are trying to maybe find their sound? Like, what's kind of, you know, what kind of keeps you going, and how you've decided to, maybe not decided, how you've, you know, kept yourself going? Like, what are some things you'd share as far as, you know?
Yeah, about
DJ?
like breaking into the DJ world.
Yeah.
I mean, finding your sound is super important, and that takes a lot of time. I'm not going to pretend that networking isn't super important. I don't like to call it networking, but like that's kind of what we use nowadays. But like the first year or two of like getting in the scene, I would like support my fellow DJs like legitly, and like got to build really legitimate relationships and friendships with a lot of like DJs who played similar music as I did. And yeah, just being like a nice person also is like a good starting point. And like, you know, being able to take feedback really well, and being able to be a good communicator with venues and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of like outside of the technical craft of it that you have to be kind of good at. But also, like, you also have to practice, man. You have to put in the hours.
Yeah.
I would say if you're new to DJing, find a location. It even might be a small lounge or like a dive bar where you can just like get in the hours of like just mixing in general, and mixing to a public, even if it's only like 10 to 40 people. Just like practice DJing to a small crowd and seeing where it goes from there. And like I said, just be a good person, man.
Yeah.
That goes a long way.
It does go a long way. It's a good bed seed for, you know, to blossom into a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can probably cut that out. Hey man, well, I appreciate you being in the first
Definitely,
episode of
man.
Starting Point.
Appreciate you, man.
It's been a pleasure, bro.
Definitely, always a pleasure.
Always. I'm looking forward to seeing you tonight, and thanks for tuning in.
Run it up, run the money, run it up, run it, fuck it up, run it in the club, getting hyphy. Young rich nigga with the blade and the chains, call me wifey.